insurance, this is Tony Cañas, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between working in a carrier and working in an agency or a brokerage. So first, I always like to disclose my own biases. I am a carrier side guy. I spent nearly 10 years of my career working in the carrier space, and now I work in the staffing side with Jacobson, and I do mostly carrier work. So I am most familiar with this side. However, I have served agencies and brokers in many different ways. I have served as the sales manager, as the underwriter for many agencies, working for the carrier, working with the agencies, and through Insurance Nerds and Chat with Tony, I have also advised several agencies on hiring and other things. So basically, the carrier side is known for stability, for lots of stability. If you come in and you do a good job, you are likely to have a job forever. People stay around for a long time, and because carriers are generally bigger companies, they have bigger balance sheets to stand big changes in the economy, recessions and stuff, especially mutual carriers that don't have to report to Wall Street every quarter. So lots of stability. If you're looking for stability, carriers are definitely the place where you can find that. Also, there's great growth opportunities because carriers tend to have so many levels. So I remember being a claims adjuster, and so kind of an entry-level role, and there was claims adjuster, there was a supervisor above me, a manager above that supervisor, a claims director above that manager, a claims assistant director above that manager, a claims director above that manager, an AVP above that claims director, a VP above that AVP, an SVP above the VP, who probably reported to the chief claims officer, who reported to the CEO. So that's 10 levels, right? So that's a lot of levels to grow. Very different from a lot of other industries. So there's a ton of for growth. You can there's a wide variety of roles you can do within the carrier space. You can work in claims. You can work in underwriting. You can work in premium audit. You can work in product, in accounting, in marketing, IT, internal audit, strategy. You name it. Carriers have departments for just a ton of different things. So there's a ton of opportunity to move around with the same carrier. Also, because carriers tend to be bigger companies, they tend to have better benefits, and that is very nice. Very nice. The pay on the carrier side goes from okay to really good. What I mean by that, in a mid-cost of living city, for something like entry-level claims, you might be looking at $45,000 a year, and if you go into underwriting, you might be looking at $55,000 to start, and there is tons and tons of growth opportunities. Basically, if you follow our advice from Insurance Nerds and you kind of go the path that we recommend for most people, which is kind of become an underwriter, then go into middle market, then get your CPCU somewhere along the way. It is not hard to get to the low six figures. It's not hard to get to that 80, 90, 100, 110 grand point if you do the right stuff in the first 10, 15 years of your career. So that's darn good money, especially in a low cost of living city. However, on the carrier side, there is a little bit of a ceiling around somewhere near 140, 150 grand, which is darn good money. But above that, you kind of really have to make it into the true executive levels to see salaries above that. But again, that is darn good money. So what about the agency or brokerage side? First, I want to make a distinction. We tend to use the words agent and broker interchangeably, and I'm going to use them interchangeably for the rest of the video. But really, technically, an agent represents the company and sells the product, while the broker represents the client and sells for multiple carriers. But ultimately, the agency and brokerage business, their role within insurance is selling the product. They kind of own the client. They sell the product or help the agent usually get paid commission from the carrier. So the number one thing I want you to think about if you're considering a brokerage side career is, can you sell? And do you like to sell? If you can sell and you like to sell, there are fantastic careers on the broker side. If you're just starting out, I would highly recommend you go to a commercial lines brokerage, preferably a medium or larger size commercial lines brokerage. And I would ask a ton of questions about their training program, mentoring program, survival rate of new people coming in. Is there a path to become a partner within the brokerage? Anyway, I can help you with those questions. I'll probably make another video on those questions. But if you can sell, the brokerage side is an amazing side. There's great money. There's also service careers within the broker side. Those careers can be really good at the right brokerage, but in many places they're not very good. What I mean by that, and I'll link a video that I've done before on this. What I mean by that is historically, the CSRs is what they're called on the personal line side, and the account managers, which is or account executives, which is what they're called on the commercial line side, generally they don't get the love the way that the producers that bring in the business get, and they're the lifeblood of the agencies. I know some larger brokers are working on revamping that model, but for now, the service side of most agencies or brokerage, you're probably better off at a carrier, in my opinion, if you don't want to sell, if you have no interest in selling. Now, the agent or the producer's role within an agency or a brokerage, if done well, is probably one of the best jobs within insurance. You can get, once you build your book, you get to the point, it has no ceiling. You get to the point where you can make a ton of money, you can kind of make your own schedule, make your own rules, basically. You really are almost working for yourself. It is just a fantastic thing once you've really made it. But getting there, getting to that point where you have lots of freedom, you're making lots of money, getting there requires generally just busting your butt for like 10 years, working much longer weeks, much longer work hours than a lot of other people within insurance. It's not for everybody. And even if you put in the work, and you don't have the right advice, you might not make it, right? The road is littered with the metaphorical bodies of many brokers and agents that have tried along the way. Very few have made it. Those that make it make a ton of money. To illustrate this, I love to tell the story of back when I was a middle market underwriter. My biggest agency that I worked with had a $7 million book just with me, just with my company, Middle Market. I'm sure that this producer, and it was a single producer, I'm sure that he had other business with other parts of the company, with other carriers, but with me, he had a $7 million book. In fact, 70% of my book was this one producer. He was in his 50s. If you think about it, a $7 million book, this guy wakes up January 1st every year knowing that he has a little bit over $1 million coming in to the agency that year, from this one company. All he has to do is not lose any of like the 15 or 20 large clients that he has, and he's had them for years. That is a fantastic job, an absolutely fantastic job. A well-oiled brokerage that has built a large commercial book can probably work like 25 hours a week most of the year and just bring in a ton of money in. And if you think about it, this guy is a partner in these agencies. His cut is probably 35 or 40% of that commission, so that's a good 350, 400 grand a year. And then at the end of the year, if they get profit share, because he's a partner, he gets part of that. So I would guess that on a normal year, he's bringing in 500,000 or 600,000. He doesn't live in an expensive city. This is just a crazy amount of money. Now, for everyone like that, there's probably 100 that tried and didn't get anywhere. Ultimately, I forgot to say earlier in the carrier side piece, on the carrier side, you also have very reasonable hours. 37 and a half seems to be the standard work week at most carriers, outside of claims. That is a very wonderful work-life balance. So that's another benefit for the carriers. So basically, that's what it looks like. That's kind of the difference of working at a carrier versus working at a broker. And of course, there's wide variety, but that gives you a good intro. If you want to chat more in depth about the different opportunities you're looking at within the industry, grab some time and chat with Tony. I'd love to chat with you. Thank you so much.